Easy Sports Talk Show. Ed Smith, Javon Adams. He is Ed Smith. I am Javon Adams. I'm an entrepreneur and MC. Do a little bit of everything, try to stay busy. And that is a man who not only played professional baseball, but he also played in the National Football League on the first Super Bowl bound team for the Atlanta Falcons. What is good, my brother?
Did you see the walk off?
We're
The
gonna talk
walk
about that. I
off.
didn't see
Okay.
it, but I definitely that's why it's on. As soon as I was up and around this morning, and I said that has to be on it because I know that is going to be that has to be something that you are excited to talk about. So we do this podcast 3 days a week, Monday, Wednesdays, and Fridays. Tell a friend about what we have going on. You find us on our YouTube page, find us on easysportstalk.com. That's easysportstalk.com. Wherever you find your podcast. Also on every Saturday, we have our radio show, which is 1 to 3 Eastern on SportsMap Radio. Go to sportsmapradio.com. You can take us in your pocket if you're not one of the 98 markets that we are on in terms of from 1 to 3 Eastern. You can download the Android app, download the Apple app. You can listen right from the website. And then also we do Believe in the Arizona Cardinals podcast as well. That'll be up Thursday. And then moving forward after that, it'll be 2 days a week on Mondays and Thursdays. And that's on me because that's on me. So Mondays and Thursdays. So Thursday, we will be dropping the next episode of Believe in the Arizona Cardinals, BLEAV. So three things on the agenda for today's show. One of them is going to be the Little League World Series. I want to save that. Almost when you watch the news, they have one of those, the feel good story at the end. They always have that. They give you all kinds of bad news for 25 minutes. And in the last 5 minutes, they say, here's a happy story. So we're going to end with the super happy story. But because Friday we were kind of moving around a little bit, and we wanted to make sure to get that Believe in the Arizona Cardinals podcast out. So that's where we're going to be revisiting a couple of the things that we talked about, or one thing that we talked about on the most recent Believe in the Arizona Cardinals. But go ahead, if you want to get the full breadth of it, go to believeinthearizonacardinals.com. You can go to believe.com. You can go again on our YouTube page, which is Easy Sports Talk Show, and be able to watch the video. All those things, you can find us on many different multi-channels. So the first thing is Isaiah Simmons, and then I want to talk, and that leads us to talk about Trey Lance as well. So Isaiah Simmons has been traded, and the reason we're bringing this up, if you don't know, a peek behind the curtains when it comes to media, sometimes stories don't have legs. They don't have the 24-hour news cycle, right? Sometimes you might get a 48, but I think this one had a little bit longer legs, especially over the weekend, going through the weekend in terms of some of the repeated discussions or topics nationwide, and Isaiah Simmons' name will pop up, and especially Trey Lance. But I want you to what are your thoughts on this Isaiah Simmons trade? He was a suspect. We talked about it before, from prospect to suspect. Now he's somebody else's suspect, so to speak, in terms of not knowing what you're capable of and kind of looking at it with a jaundiced eye. Your thoughts on the Isaiah Simmons trade, because they got a 7th round pick for him, a 7th round. Again, you said it. We both had the same thought. There is no 8th round. So they got a 7th round pick for a former top 10 draft pick. I know a different regime, but your thoughts on that trade?
Number 8 overall, and your get back is a 7th round pick. And we've been talking about it, and the question is, did they just give up on him too soon, or was he literally just not performing, and they knew right away from training camp, from start of camp on, yeah, he's just not going to make it. Here's another thing that I thought about too, Jay, that just recently popped into my head. If you have two of the same thing sometimes,
okay,
why keep one? And I bring that up because one, Zaven Collins, was drafted a year after Isaiah Simmons. We talked about it when they drafted Zaven. It was like, why are you going to get 2 jokers, 2 jacks? You already have one. Why get another one that's a tweener? So, but Isaiah Simmons, so they might have been battling for that one jack spot, that joker spot. And obviously Collins, it seems like he set himself, above, like in front in the race, he set himself separated, right?
Yeah.
So maybe that was the issue. We've been talking, maybe he wasn't balling, he just didn't fit. Zaven Collins seems to be fitting. and they were trying to find a spot because you wondered, why aren't they just putting him on the line? Like let
Yeah.
him rush. That's what they did with David Collins. So why have two of those tweeners? And they tried him at safety, it didn't work. And maybe they just thought, he's not going to. But the bottom line is something went horribly wrong. And we know that the current regime, sometimes, they pay for the sins of the previous. And they're like, nah, that's it. We're going to go ahead and ship him out. And the Giants, we've said it. And if anybody's here to say that, one man's trash is another man's treasure. Maybe the Giants are going to get somebody who has something to prove, obviously. He fits their scheme better. Maybe he gets rejuvenated. He's juvenated and he gets rejuvenated. so in the end, we're scratching our heads, and the only people who can answer the question why is Ossenfort and Gannon and all parties, but they're not gonna say too much, and maybe I just cracked the code because they had two. Why keep two? Let's go ahead and give them, and then you got to think of this too, Jay. Collins was drafted after.
So he's under control for a little more.
Under control for a little longer, and they didn't pick up Isaiah's fifth-year option already anyway. So there's a lot of factors that, in the end, that might have just been the writing on the wall for him. But go ahead.
Here's something it struck me a little odd yesterday. So I'm listening to. So Saturday after our radio show, and so I'm on the way home. And so I was listening to the broadcast, and there was Jay Feely was on with Paul Calvisi, and so they were, because the regular radio broadcast they're doing television. So so they're talking about, because the game is it's kind of a lull in the game, and they're talking about the Isaiah Simmons trade. They mentioned it very briefly, and Jay Feely said something that I think, because we're all speculating, we're all just kind of throwing ideas out because we don't know, and he said, well, maybe it's because he was inflexible to want to do something else, because because we've both heard this, and so it's a way in which you can how you interpret the same we both hear the same thing, and how we can interpret it two different ways. Because remember when he said, the coaching staff said they came to him, and Isaiah Simmons said this as well, and asked him, where do you want to be? What do you think is the best fit for you? And he says, well, last season they said that I could be best used here. And I said, okay, if that's what's going to be best for the team, but if the choice is mine, essentially, I don't want to play linebacker. That's what I don't want to do. And so Jay Feely says, well, maybe it's because he was inflexible. And I'm thinking, well, hasn't he been pretty flexible? Maybe he's just not as good as we thought. So there's that. Maybe it could be, maybe he wasn't getting the best coaching. Could be that. Maybe it's that they were moving him around all the time, and therefore you never really get a chance to master one position, and then start to stack it on as you would do, stacking habits one on top of the other. And that just struck me as weird when he said that. Could that be? Is that something that could be out there? Maybe he was inflexible. It just seems a little odd to me, though.
Well, in any relationship, and here's where, unless he speaks, we're not going to get his side of the story. And in any relationship, the party that talks it seems like they have the most control. Meaning, so with the Cardinals, they don't want to look bad.
Yeah.
So they're going to leak little things and maybe make it seem like Isaiah was inflexible. He didn't want to do this. He didn't want to do that. Where it might have just been a situation, bro, where and I've been there before when I got traded from the White Sox to the Brewers, and I felt useless, like not useless, but I felt like I wasn't valued from time to time. When I was going out there doing my thing, and I knew I was balling, but because I wasn't their product, and they had others that they wanted to promote in front of me, and it's like, well, what am I doing here? I'm out here doing my thing, and you guys could care less, me and the powers that be. Maybe that's part of it. He knew he was swimming uphill against the current, and that can be a little depressing. Now, here's the problem. you as an athlete, you can control that. Meaning there's two things you can do. You can sulk and not do your job, or you can go out there and be like, I don't care what they think. I'm going to ball, and we'll see what happens. I'm going to force their hand, force them to keep me. If they don't, then do what you do. I'm going to go find my way somewhere else. It seems like it might have been the first. Isaiah might have been sulking a little bit, because we saw him in that second preseason game. It wasn't good.
Yeah, it was bad.
It was bad. And if that's your effort, or if that's what you're putting out there, you're giving them an opportunity to say, "Hey, look, see, well, that's what we got. So that's why we're getting rid of them." So it can work both ways. And I've been there before. And for these young athletes, sometimes when they've always been told how great they are, and at some point somebody's going to tell you that you're not as great as you think you are, or show you with their actions, because they're not valuing you, and your response can be one or the other. And it looks like he didn't give his best effort here. Now, maybe what was interesting, Jay?
Yeah,
I watched a peek at the Jets-Giants game just to see Rodgers real quick. Yeah. They already had Isaiah out there playing. He actually put pressure on Rodgers, and this is he was starting. He wasn't like late in the game. So you know how difficult it is. Now that shows you two things. Shows you how easy it is to pick up things on the defensive side of the ball. Hey, you line up on this side, go get the quarterback. Whereas offensively, there's schemes and blocking, and hey, go get the quarterback. Or, when they get a guy the ball, tackle him, that type of thing. Right. But they inserted him right away, first drive, and he was out there, and I heard his name. I was watching, and kind of watching, right? Because I saw Rodgers out there, and I heard Isaiah Simmons. I went, huh? I looked up, huh? And I was just, sure enough, they had him out there, already getting him a look, So, and I'm sure he was happy to be there wearing blue, not be wearing these colors. And I'm hoping things are better for him moving forward, because he deserves it, if you ask me.
Yes, indeed. Yes, indeed. So Easy Sports Talk Show. Let's talk a little bit about Trey Lance. And maybe you've heard the stats if you listen to the show, if you're watching, but for those of you that haven't, how can you form an opinion on somebody who has played? Gosh, he's been in a total, not starts, but just in a total of 8 games, right? In 8 games, and has 102 attempts. So 56 completions, 102 attempts. Yet he was traded from the 49ers, traded to the Dallas Cowboys. And there was, again, listening, there was somebody that an insider that said one of the rumors, one of the many, is that maybe he wasn't a cultural fit. My contention, and I said this to you on Saturday, is that this is just kind of bad from a coaching perspective, because that Shanahan is the one that probably stood on the table and said, I want this dude. I got that. I can make it happen. And he didn't make it happen. And if the GM buys the groceries, and if the GM maybe asks the coach, what would you like to cook tonight so I can make sure to buy those groceries for you? Maybe the GM says to the coach, I'm gonna buy the groceries, and based upon what I buy, that's what you're gonna end up cooking. Don't ask me nothing. I don't want no input from you. But what were your thoughts on the Trey Lance trade?
All right, I like this one right here.
All right.
So I'm the cook of the house over here, right?
Yes, I do.
And Amanda buys the groceries. She asks me for my input and what we're gonna do over the next couple of weeks, and I put it out there, and she goes and gets them, right?
Yes.
So say you have my cooking, I'm pretty consistent with what I do, right?
Yes, you are.
Every now and then we have a conqueror, right? Every now and then we have something that just doesn't quite work out. All right.
Okay.
So for me, it's like, 99 out of 100 ain't that bad, right?
Okay. So
you gonna stop buying what I ask you to get? All of a sudden, after that one bad meal, you gonna stop? Now all of a sudden I don't get no input on what the grocery list is.
Oh man. Okay.
I'm just saying,
Okay.
One bad meal. Last year we got to the NFC Championship. with Brock Purdy, a 7th rounder,
Ooh.
after, Garoppolo go down, Trey goes down, and I still pulled it off. And that, hey, you got to give my props, bro. Hey, I'm just saying. So that one bad meal.
Okay.
Give me that list.
I get you. I got okay.
Give me that
list.
Okay.
Okay. This is again. I'm just throwing out these theories that I heard because I want in real time bounce these ideas off of you and just have you either reject them or not. That Jerry Jones. So Dak shouldn't feel threatened in any way this year or maybe next year, but in a couple years maybe so, because you don't pull off this trade to get Trey Lance to just have him be the third string quarterback or even a backup quarterback almost. And I heard this, so I'm borrowing this, where when you think about when the 49ers had Montana and they had Steve Young. So Steve Young was waiting in the wings. Why? Because there were certain periods of time where Joe Montana he was known. He started to become injured a little bit. So, all right, so we're going to get you up in here. Then eventually they traded Joe Montana to Kansas City. What do you think about that theory? I think that could hold some weight. Not for this season, maybe not for next season, but for a couple seasons down the road.
He's got a lot of growth, meaning Trey Lance has got a lot of gap to fill, even before he just gets to Dak's level. You mentioned the lack of snaps. He's been injured, and now you got to remember the way you make progress, especially in these offenses as a quarterback, is playing, right?
True.
What is Trey going to be doing for the next 2 years at minimum over there in Dallas? Holding the clipboard, got an earpiece in, and he's listening. He'll get his practice in, but as far as game time, snaps, it could be a couple, next year, preseason. Okay, you get some preseason snaps.
Yeah.
He's not going to be doing much over the next couple of years, meaning he is going to be growing even less than he was over in San Fran. They had plans for him in San Fran, so he got hurt last year with the ankle, right?
Yeah.
So he was getting all the first snaps preseason, and obviously gets in and gets hurt. So this year is a wash for him because, he didn't do anything there in camp. Now you're going to go and sit behind Dak for at least 2 years.
Yeah.
So that threat, unless his ability was like out the roof, I would be thinking, yeah, he's going to be on Dak's heels soon. Now, you mentioned Steve and Joe. You remember Steve Young was over in Tampa playing, and he was getting that experience with a bad team.
Okay, I get. Yeah, that's true.
He was getting live snaps and growing, and so by the time he got to backing up Joe, it was like, wow, we see he's got the skills. He's just been in a crappy organization. This is totally different. Where, like I said, Trey is going to be sitting there just listening and watching for the next 18 weeks, bro. Unless something happens to Dak, and even then, he's got at least one, because that guy Cooper Rush or something.
Yeah, Rush.
He's going to be the 2. Trey's got to learn the offense. He's got to get acclimated. If something were to happen to Dak, he's still got another dude to jump over even just to get there. So if I'm Dak, I'm looking at Jerry with the cross eye, with the stinky eye. I'm like, why? Because it wasn't even necessary. What are you telling me? Are you looking long term? Because obviously he's not coming in there to take my job now. But what are you doing, Jerry? We could have used that 4th round pick for something next year. Jerry is like the girl in high school that always has to have something going on. See, 1 week, she's messing with somebody's dude. Everybody's whispering about her. So that calms down. What's she do? She goes out and paints her hair purple or something like that. Or the rumors that she's pregnant or something like that. Always got to be in the news. That seems like Jerry. And this is just another instance of, Jerry, you could have just, why'd you do this? You're just creating news for no reason at all. Creating bad and not good news, just stuff for us to be talking about and looking at you, and now the Cowboys got to stay in our mouth for no reason at all. And that just makes no sense to me.
Yeah. Again, Jerry Jones is famous for saying that I don't care if you can love me or hate me, but what I don't want is apathy, which is the lack of interest either way. So Easy Sports Talk Show, Javon and Ed. So we got a week low. Now I'm switching. I'm switching on the fly here. I want to ask you this, and maybe we'll get into this deeper discussion on Wednesday or Friday's show. But
Mm-hmm.
I want to ask you this. So we have a week between the start of the season. So this Sunday there will be no football. The next Sunday there's going to be the season begins in earnest, as they say. So doesn't this illustrate that we could have just in the middle of the season a bye for all teams, maybe 2 byes over the course of the season? So you got a middle of the season bye, and then you got whatever the random bye that some teams have in week 4, week 10, or whatever it might be. That's what it made me think of. Why it that would seem to be something that would enable even make bet for better quality football during the course of the season, the second half of the season, if you had a bye in the middle of the season.
I'm with you. The powers that be, though, they don't want to go away at all. They don't want any lull. As a former player, and here's what I don't understand either. You talk about, because they like to sprinkle it in, those for those third week 3 and 4, 5 week 5 buys, week 3 through 5, they are useless. I mean, for a team,
right?
The Super Bowl year that we played, I think our bye was in week 4, and I wasn't ready for a rest yet.
Right.
And then once you get it, now we got a double-digit games to go without a break. Yeah. It just didn't make any sense. But football never goes away. They don't want to even give a, because what's going on during football season, college football season.
College football, yes.
They don't want to even give them an inch or, hey, look at this. Nah, while the NFL is doing their thing, you see what they even do during the offseason. They spread now. Everything is, they're covering everything from mini camps to OTAs, and they don't want to give not an inch. They don't want to give a centimeter. They don't want to give anything, bro. And for me, you talk about missing the mark. Yeah, I love the idea. The NFL would never do it because to them that's giving away real estate. They're not giving it away.
Because it seems, to your point, and so I can hear you there too. But the counter to that would be this weekend they're giving away some real estate because college football, because week 0, whatever, week 0 is 0 for a reason, right? And now this coming up weekend, going into Labor Day, it's going to be college football nonstop starting this upcoming Saturday. So they're giving up some real estate here, and that so but you think that they don't want to give it up especially when the momentum is being built?
Yeah, in their minds, this is it's like giving away, I don't know, free coffee, bro. For me, Dunkin' Donuts does it. Hey, on this day, like if the Eagles back in Jersey, when the Eagles win on Monday, Wawa, they give away free coffee. Yeah. And everybody piles in to get that free coffee, right? Yeah. All they're doing is luring you in. Because once you get that, hey, why am I giving away free coffee today? I never tried that coffee, but they're giving away just this week right here. Damn, they're not worried about this week. It's okay. They've done they've done what they wanted to do. Get through the preseason. Let me ask you this real quick. Yeah. Why do you think the preseason games when I played, and we're gonna work on a term one of these days for I don't like using back in the day, my day, and all that stuff. We're gonna work on that term, right? I'll help you figure that out. But when I played, we had Friday and Saturday. Every team played their games on Friday and Saturday, right? And they were done, right? Now we got a Thursday game, we got a Friday game, we got a Saturday, one on Sunday, even had a Monday night game last week. Why? Because they're taking up that real estate. So they've accomplished what they've spread it out now. College football started. Okay, you guys have your little weekend here, Labor Day. And here's the other thing, Jay. What's everybody doing for Labor Day?
Last travel weekend before school starts, so to speak, for those depending on where you live. But I get you right.
Getting their barbecues in, focus. Like the diehards will run to their TVs to watch their regional college football. Yeah, hey, you can have that because a lot of people are going to be in cars driving around, going to see Aunt May and all that stuff, and Pookie in the backyard. Last barbecue in for the winter or the fall is coming.
Get ready to go to the Elks.
Get ready to go. So this weekend, hey, yeah, you want that? There you go. But they're not even worried about that because they know this 18-week stretch is getting ready to come up. Think about this, Jay. We've had a few weeks ago. We had our last weekend without football until February. They're going to be the NFL all the way through.
Yeah. And I could just hear the smile in your voice, the happiness in your voice. So Easy Sports Talk Show. So before we get to this last topic, again, we do this 3 days a week, Monday, Wednesday, and Friday. Tell a friend about what we have going on. You can also go to our website, ezsportstalk.com. That's ezsportstalk.com. Every Thursday coming up starting next week, every Monday and Thursday, we will have a new episode of our Believe in the Arizona Cardinals podcast. That's BLEAV in the Arizona Cardinals podcast. And every Saturday, we have the Easy Sports Talk Show on Sports Map Radio, 1 to 3 Eastern. You can go to sportsmapradio.com. Take us in your pocket. You can download the app for your Android or your Apple device, or you can listen on the website if you're not in one of the 98 markets that we are in. So having said that, Little League World Series, man, it's over, and it ended in grand style, man. So this is one of Ed's really this is one of his passions. He loves Little League World Series. So lay it out for me, because when I heard about the ending, I knew I had to bring it up, put it on the run sheet.
It was you talking about the crescendo. You watch one of those the maestros, and they're bringing it up and and you see them swinging that thing. Bruh, yesterday's game, what that dude, he was swinging it, hair flying all over the place, and he was getting it in. And this was Curacao versus Cali.
El Segundo, to be precise. I've been to El Segundo. A couple of my recent races have been in El Segundo. So yeah.
When I went to Cali earlier this year, that's where I stayed, was in El Segundo. That's where the Believe in the Arizona Cardinals, the office is, El Segundo. I had dinner with two of my best friends from offices I've known since I was 5 years old. We all had dinner in El Segundo. Okay. So it was, not very proud of that team, proud of the Curacao team as well. And obviously I watched every game, did not miss a game all the way through. So however many games it was, I watched every international game, every USA game. So the two best teams did get there. And for it to come down to what it did, because it looked like it was going to be a runaway at first, El Segundo up, Curacao scrapping, down 5-1, started all of a sudden in the fifth inning, getting a couple guys on, man, grand slam to tie it up. I was like, oh my God, they went crazy. And then it looked like the tide had shifted. Man, my dude, I wish I knew his name off the top of my head, comes up and he's been mashing the whole tournament. Comes up, 1-0 pitch or 0-1, whatever it was, and it was gone. I've hit those ones before. The second it touched my bat, I just want to know where it was going, how far it was going. I knew it was gone. And this was one of those, the second it touched his bat, you could see the pitcher, and when it went left, and the shortstop, left fielder, everybody, their reaction, if you watch the replays, it's like boom, and it's like heads down and walk off to win. I can only imagine. And I had a few walk-offs in my career in minor league baseball, and there's nothing like them, bro. Everybody waiting for you at home plate, and now the celebrations, all kind of stuff. So I can only imagine him going back home, and he's going to be the talk of his town for a very long time. Congratulations to El Segundo. Absolutely. If you have not ever watched the Little League World Series, next year this time when we're doing this show and talking, we'll be talking about it again. You need to watch it. I'm telling you, those kids, they get it in, and I was not disappointed, bro.
That's awesome. That is awesome. So on behalf of the one and only Ed Easy Smith, I am Javon J. Love Adams. We will see you on Wednesday. And so again, make sure you tell a friend about what we have going on. And you can also check out ezsportstalk.com. That's ezsportstalk.com. And as we always like to say around this time, you can